You could continue to live like that if you want to. I don't think you, I don't want to say I don't think you want to, because I know the pain, and sometimes, yeah, you do. You would rather just stay dissociated. But I'm telling you, when you are able to take care, ooh, ooh, life is worth it. So, yeah. Shout out to all my people out there. Welcome to the House of Cups. You can call me Sage, and in today's episode, I want to talk about emotion dysregulation and dissociation. I just want to talk about my experience with it. I am somebody that experiences CPTSD, and I also identify as a highly sensitive person. And those two things, boy, put me in a whirlwind of emotion dysregulation and dissociation. And I've experienced it for as long as I can remember, my entire life. And there was a long, long time when I had no idea what was happening to me. I'm just living in this cycle. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about the cycle, or the bridge between the two, which if you experience it, you probably already know this. I'm just talking about my experience, like I said. And I just want to offer some encouragement, because I know how challenging it can be to make better. So in terms of me being an HSP or experiencing CPTSD, I bring that up, and I think it's important to share because my experience is so internalized and quiet. I've kind of also not been taken seriously, like prior to me having the language to explain that this is what's going on with me. I've not really been taken seriously by people. Same experience that I've had with doctors and therapists. I go to the doctor, I go to the therapist, and especially if they're not trained specifically in the work of trauma, maybe they're just trauma informed. They've not been able to spot it, and they've not been able to help me with it, and it hasn't been of much use to me. So this is for all my quiet internalizers out there. I just want you to know that you don't have to be terrorizing people and ripping paper to shreds in public and gnashing your teeth at the onlookers and the passersby in a fit of rage in order to be classified as emotionally dysregulated. Okay? Here's what's happening for me when I get emotionally dysregulated. What's happening for me when I get dysregulated is my heart rate increases, my pupils dilate. It feels like the blood drains from my face. My face goes numb. My hands start to shake. I start to feel like I want to just lay down all of a sudden. And it's like something inside of me just sinks to the bottom. It just sinks, and it's so heavy. And it's like, I cannot stop what is happening inside of me. It doesn't matter if I've been looking forward to this day for a long time. It doesn't matter if I have my favorite thing in front of me. I'm going to lose my appetite. My entire countenance drops when I get emotionally dysregulated. For me, nobody knows what's happening except for me, and I have no idea how to stop it. The second thing that I want to say is that you don't have to have CPTSD. You don't have to be a highly sensitive person. You don't have to have some variation of neurodivergence in order to experience emotion dysregulation. Dysregulation is a human experience. The difference is that people that are more rounded in their development, I think that they're able to regulate their emotions quicker, and has less of a negative effect or less of a harmful effect on them when they get dysregulated. Emotion dysregulation and dissociation are both responses to emotional overwhelm. I don't have the intense emotional reaction as in like this outward thing that other people are able to spot, or these outward behaviors that other people are able to spot or identify. It's like my internal emotional response seems disproportionate to what actually happened. And no matter what I say, I can be like, well, they just said this, and even though it might have pissed me off or rubbed me the wrong way, the swell of emotion within me is so big that you realize that it is disproportionate to what happened. And if you don't know what dysregulation is, or if you don't understand how trauma and triggers and the sympathetic nervous system, that fight flight response in the body works, you can kind of gaslight yourself or think that you're crazy, or allow people to tell you that you're overreacting and kind of minimize what your experience is. So you can think of emotion dysregulation like this big swell of emotion, this flood of emotion within the body. Flood, 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 flood. But the fight flight gets activated. That is your sympathetic nervous system. And in that, basically what happens is you are flooded with your emotions. From what I understand, what happens in the body is that you have less access to the prefrontal cortex of the brain, which is in charge of your executive functioning. That's where you do all of your critical thinking. So if you ever feel when you're emotionally dysregulated that you can't think, you can't get it together, you don't know which way is up, which way is down, which way to go, should I go left, should I go right, what decision should I make? If you ever feel like that, it's because this right here is kind of offline. Emotion dysregulation often comes from experiences that overwhelm the nervous system and make it difficult to process the emotions in a balanced way. So if you've been in these childhood trauma streets, you know that this isn't a flaw. This is just something that is a survival response. And our job is to teach ourselves how to regulate. And it's not always easy, but we can do it. So what is dissociation? Dissociation, on the other hand, is a mental state when you feel disconnected from yourself, from your emotions, or the world around you. It's often a protective response to stress, trauma, or overwhelm. And it's a way that the mind distances itself in order to cope with something that feels like it's too much to handle. So dissociation is not always a bad thing, but that's another conversation for another day. What I'm talking about here is when it becomes a problem. It is chronic. Dysregulation is this this flood of emotions throughout your body. You know, your face goes numb, you feel it, your tongue goes numb, you're angry, your stomach drops, your heart is racing, your whole countenance changes, everything is ruined. You might lose your appetite, you don't know what to do, you can't think properly, you know, you've kind of lost access to the prefrontal cortex and you're in a fog in a bit. But to help you out, dissociation comes along and just shuts everything down. Like, okay. So some common signs of dissociation are feeling unreal or detached from yourself. So there's a sense of not fully being in your body, like you're floating or you're disconnected from your physical sensations. That's a key. Keep that in mind. You might feel like you're watching yourself from the outside, as if you're observing your body or your actions from a distance. I remember when I first realized I was dissociated, I was 14, and I wrote in my journal that I wrote as a representative because I said that, you know, Sage was on another planet somewhere. That's what I said. And later in my life, in more recent years, before I got this language, I would say that it felt like I was on the outside of a snow globe. Like I was plastered to the outside of a snow globe, watching life happen, watching the world go by, and people could see me and they thought that I was there, but I wasn't really there. I was on the outside of the snow globe. So it's like, it was so scary because it's like they didn't even know I was gone because they were looking at me, but I was gone and I didn't know how to tell them I'm not here. You know, so it was really scary. Derealization, or feeling disconnected from your surroundings. The world around you feels distant or dreamlike or unreal. People feel flat. Emotions feel flat. Sounds may feel muted, and everything may feel like really sharp or intense. For me, this may be depersonalization, but I've had this experience all throughout my life, but I had several really big experiences in the past years where I wasn't sure if I was where I thought I was. Like, I was afraid because I thought that I might have been dreaming. Like, I was in class and it was like maybe 10 minutes early and I was the only person sitting in the classroom, and I was looking at the clock and I'm like, where is everybody? Nobody's here. Not even the one, not even the professor. So I started to get really worried and I looked across the hall. I'm like, yeah, that's the biology lab. I'm usually in this place. And I was like, what if I'm dreaming? Or what if I'm like on a different floor and I don't know where I am? Or one time in particular, I was at a friend's house waiting for people to deliver furniture. And she calls me. She's like, hey, where are you? You know, the furniture people said that they're at the place and nobody's answering the door. I go outside on the porch and I look at the house. I walk outside and I look at the house to make sure I'm in I'm in the right house. Like, and I actually said to her, like, no, I'm here. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's what an odd thing to say. Like, you know where you are. But when you're dissociated, it's very Alice in Wonderland. You know what I'm saying? So it's not fun. So you have emotion dysregulation and dissociation can be brought about by a trigger, because of CPTSD. If you're a highly sensitive person or neurodivergent, you can just be overstimulated. You can just get overstimulated from having a good time. You can get overstimulated from having a good day. You can get overstimulated from just being too productive and feeling great about it. Like, let me calm down. You do all of this stuff, all of the things that you wanted to do. You were talking on the phone while you were running your errands, and while you were in the kitchen cooking, you were chopping up food, all of this stuff. And it was great. It was great. It was cool. It was great. But you're overstimulated. If you're highly sensitive, you might be overstimulated. I am overstimulated after that. And I also experience CPTSD, so I know both. And I've had to learn the experience is the same, but the causes are different. So I can be triggered and have that experience, or I don't have to be triggered. I can have a great day. I can thoroughly enjoy, putting my YouTube channel together, creating this podcast. Is something that I wanted to do for a very long time. I'm so excited about it. I've been working on it for hours. If I don't stop and take a break, come back into my body, regulate my emotions, drink some water, have a snack, come back. There are my fingers. There are my toes. Here's my butt in the chair. What do I hear? What do I see? What do I smell? If I don't do that and I just keep going, I just hop into bed and collapse. And then I wake up and I come back to the studio and I do it all over again. That's not good. Before I move on to what I do now, first, let me start off by saying I'm still very much learning how to become more and more efficient at recovery or regulating my nervous system and coming back to my body after I dissociate. Still a very real experience for me. It's just I've learned some things, and once you learn things, the only thing to do then is just really to continue to put it into practice. So that's where I'm at right now. And I wonder if anybody else has this experience, but this cycle of emotion dysregulation and dissociation, emotion dysregulation and dissociation. And really, if you think about it, the emotion dysregulation is the anxiety, and the dissociation is did I say that right? Dissociation? The dissociation is the depression. So during cycles of emotion dysregulation or anxiety, I would lose a lot of weight. And during cycles of depression or dissociation, I would gain a lot of weight. Because in that depression or dissociation, I would be just trying to feel something, and I would binge and binge and binge and binge and binge and binge on sugar. Okay? I don't even really want to talk about that much. But it would just lead to these cycles, this whole long cycle. And it would be a long time before I could come out of a cycle. So I would spend weeks dysregulated, then weeks to a month dissociated, maybe even longer. And then once I finally made my way back around to kind of come back to my body some kind of way, I don't even know how I did it. It's like finally my prefrontal cortex would come back online, and it's like I would just haul ass out the gate trying to become productive from all of the times where I wasn't able to be productive. In between emotion dysregulation and dissociation, there's not a lot of productivity, not for me at least. So when I'm in that little small window where I've kind of recovered myself and I've come back to my body, I'm trying to think of what I should do, what I can be, what I can build. I'm trying to use all of the thinking that I wasn't able to do when I was kind of out of commission, and I'm trying to do it all right now because I'm trying to hurry up and make up for lost time. I'm kind of gain ground. I'm already behind the curve, because I spent all of this time in a haze, and it's so frustrating. Now, I don't have narcolepsy, and I've never experienced narcolepsy, But just the idea of falling asleep at the wheel while you're trying to go somewhere and you just keep doing it over and over again. That was kind of like my experience. It's kind of like you get started on something and then you just check out and it's just like, damn it, I did it again. And then you have to wait. Now you're out of commission. You're just out of commission. 2 months, 3 months, you know what I mean? And then the holidays come back around. So for me, there's like this span of time. Let's start it off with the holidays. Never mind. I don't want to do that. It's too soon. It's too soon. So I go through whatever it is I go through in my life. I get triggered. I get overstimulated. I get emotionally dysregulated, and then I might catch it. Okay, that's fine. But then something else comes and blows me out of the water. I get emotionally dysregulated again. Then I get dissociated. Now I'm out of commission for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. Now when I get out of dissociation, first of all, now I'm trying to get back in the gym because I know I haven't been doing right. Then I'm just trying to make up for all this lost time, and I end up burning myself out and I end up overstimulating myself, which leads right into, you guessed it, emotion dysregulation and dissociation. Over and over and over and over and over and over again, the cycle continues. Not fun. Let me know if you experience something similar, or especially like that cycle. Like how crazy is that for you? Because for me, I'm like, it just makes me want to cry every single time because I cut all of that. That's not what I want to say. Not what I want to say. 2 things I can say have really helped me make the progress that I've made. 1 is educating myself, understanding what's happening with me and why it happens. That means understanding CPTSD, understanding my triggers and my traumas, and just understanding all of that stuff. Also understanding being a highly sensitive person and how that affects me. Understanding the nervous system and what's happening in the body when you get triggered or when you get overstimulated. That has helped me. The second thing that has really helped me is a mindfulness practice. I mean, there are a whole lot of things that you can do, but I'll just boil it all down to mindfulness. I will really boil it all down to mindfulness. I'm leaving something out, and that is movement, but I've just now started to really get serious about movement. I've been moving consciously for a couple years now, but now I'm just like, no, you get out of the bed, you need to move, touch your toes, reach to the ceiling, feel your body. I really make it a point to feel my body. I started moving, but now I feel my body. But mindfulness has really been, however you choose to do it, mindfulness has really been a major factor for me in this whole journey, this whole process of embodiment, coming back to my body after being dissociated. It started with mindfulness meditation and it just branched off from there. So now it's not just mindfulness meditation. I kind of just practice mindfulness wherever I can be mindful. It has helped me to tune in to myself. So now, where I spent months in this cycle of emotion dysregulation and dissociation, I didn't know when I was hungry. I didn't realize when I was hungry. I didn't realize when I was thirsty. I didn't realize when I was in pain. I didn't realize when I was tired. I didn't realize when my dog, when he, you know what I mean? Like, I just was so away from my body. I was just so out of it. I didn't realize a lot of things. Public, I understand you don't want to use a public restroom, but I don't play now. I do not play. I'm not gonna. Once my body gives that signal, it's almost kind of like I thank my body. Thank you for letting me know. And I listen. When my body says I'm hungry, we listen and we eat. When I feel thirsty, we listen and we drink. We do not wait. I don't allow myself to be in too much discomfort, unnecessarily. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've learned through practicing mindfulness to listen to my body. You can't hear your body when you have all this chatter going on through emotional dysregulation, and you definitely can't hear your body when you're dissociated because you're not in your body. You're not there. Regulating my emotion and coming back into my body, the way that I take care of myself, it basically looks the same. The difference between the two is that once it crosses over into dissociation, it requires a little bit more care on my part. So it requires a little bit more patience, a little bit more compassion, and my steps are a little bit more, they're a little smaller, they're a little more subtle, they're a little more spaced out, because really you just have to do what you can until you can come back to your body. And I used to kind of think it was cheesy, some of the things that people said to do to get grounded, because that's really what it is, getting grounded. All these sensory things. I like the, what is it, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1? Is it 5 things you can see, 4 things you can hear, 3 things you can touch, 2 you can smell, and 1 you can taste, or something like that. That's really good. Another thing that I do are body scans. I do body scans regularly. I love them. I am so amazed when I tap in and do a body scan that I wasn't aware of my body. It had been 3 hours and I was not aware of my back. Oh, was it box breathing? 4 in, hold 4, 4 out, hold 4. So you breathe in 4 seconds. I could be wrong. Maybe it's 8 seconds. But it's box breathing. It's like that. You breathe in for XYZ seconds. You hold it for XYZ seconds. You breathe out for XYZ seconds. You hold it for XYZ seconds. Going back to the body scan, I learned that it really worked for me. When I was in meditation once, my thoughts just went on a wild goose chase. I was fresh out of a breakup and my mind went there, and I was doing so good in meditation and my mind just took off, and all of a sudden it wasn't abrupt, but I just gently brought my mind to my body, and I went from my toes all the way up to my head, just kind of scanning my body with my mind. And I smiled at myself because it was such a major difference in between, my mind spinning out of control about, what happened, and all of a sudden just coming right back into my body and realizing I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm here. I try to get to bed at a reasonable hour. I make sure that I'm eating. I don't allow myself to get hangry. That was chronic prior to a situation that I had happened where I just wouldn't eat, and my blood sugar would drop, and I would, or whatever it does, it did, and I would get hangry, and it just was really bad. So you need to make sure that you're eating. I try to make sure that I'm eating. I always have a snack. I'm always drinking water, and I am moving my body. So even if I don't go to the gym, I'm going to come into my studio and I am going to be doing some kind of dedicated movement of my body every single day. And I incorporate the mindfulness into that, because when I do the movement, I'm thinking about what I'm moving. I'm thinking about it with my mind. What is it when you're in the gym, the muscle mind connection? I'm thinking about it. So I'm very in touch with my body during that time. Hot showers, jacuzzi or the hot tub, the sauna, the steam room, things like that are helpful for me. A hot bath. I know that people don't like to hear that, but it's really not about snapping out of it when you're dissociated. I kind of look at those things as more like exercises. They not only are they soothing, I kind of look at them as like sensory exercises. When I brush my teeth, if that's all I can manage to do, I'm thinking about bristles on gums, bristles on gums, bristles on gums, sensation, sensation, sensation. When you are dysregulated, to be honest with you, it's hard to get any of those things done. And that's the honest to God truth. It's hard to get any of those things done. Let's just be real about it. So you need to be making a big deal out of brushing your teeth and washing your face. You need to be making a big deal out of taking a shower when you do. You need to make a big deal out of eating and drinking water. If you need to make a big deal about sitting on the floor and reaching down and touching your toes, if that's all you can do, make a big deal out of it. Spend some time on the floor, getting in touch with the body, however you want to stretch. I don't know. That's just one of my go-tos because my hamstrings are always tight. I'm talking too much. I write in my journal when I'm able to. Usually I don't write in my journal when I'm dissociated because I just don't have access. I don't have access. If I tried to write, it would just be so half-hearted. When I am able, I make it a point to write in my journal about whatever it is that triggered me, whatever it is that overstimulated me, whatever it is that might have even came up. Because sometimes, here's the overlap, CPTSD, HSP, I've done a lot of processing through my childhood traumas, right? And so a lot of things I don't really need to talk about anymore so much. But when I get dysregulated, those things come up. And sometimes I'm dysregulated again, not because something triggered me, but just because I got overstimulated. So, I might have gotten overstimulated and now all of a sudden I'm seeing the world from the upside down. And now I'm back in childhood trauma land. And there might be something there that I might need to process or talk about or whatever the case may be. Something might trigger me. Something might come up that was actually still there that I had been living with, but now it's time to address. I'll go ahead and write about it in my journal. And I take every opportunity to do so. Another thing I want to say about especially dissociation. Emotion dysregulation, though, it's hard because it's like this state of anxiety. So it's really hard to get a lasso around that thing and slow it down. I find that with emotion dysregulation, both of them, I kind of really have to be kind of gently guide them to where I want my system to be. You don't just go in and wrangle the thing to the ground and think you're just gonna, I'm dysregulated, let me go and sit on my magic carpet and meditate. That's not about to happen. The train is going 250 miles an hour. You're not about to just slam the brakes on. And even more so, if you're dissociated, you're not just gonna slap your face and throw some water on your face and go hop in the shower and bring yourself back to your body. That's not gonna happen. It's gonna take some time. It's gonna take some time of you stimulating those sensory perceptions and being mindful of them, and then you slowly return to your body. What I want to really encourage is that you just be really patient with yourself. You be really patient with yourself, be really kind to yourself, be really compassionate, really understanding with yourself, because nobody's going to be as compassionate with you as you can be, because you know what's going on with you. Nobody's in your body but you. Nobody can be in your body except for you. So it's really important that you are kind to yourself. It's really important that you are patient with yourself. When you return to your body, or as you start to return to your body from dissociation, it can be really painful. Sometimes there are those same overwhelming emotions that led to the dissociation in the first place. They're still there. Those emotions are still there. So coming back to your body can mean pain. It can mean grief. It can mean fear. So you got to be really patient with yourself while you are developing the skills to be able to take care of those emotions, because that's the idea. For me, it is anyway. Because I think of it like reparenting, but this is where I kind of dip into internal family systems. I'm loving internal family systems. I'm loving internal family systems. I love internal family systems. It works for me. I'm not sure if it would work for you, but I really do appreciate it. I very much appreciate internal family systems. I really want to encourage you to allow what is to be, because I have felt so behind in life and stuck on this hamster wheel of trying to achieve, trying to accomplish, when all I was doing was just running my nervous system into the ground. And one of the best things that I could have done for myself was just to realize that it's safe. It's safe for me to just allow what is to be. It's okay. What happened has happened. Okay? The things that have happened as a result, that led to the childhood trauma, those things have happened. Those things have had an effect on me. I'm talking about CPTSD. The HSP thing, you're just an HSP. It is what it is. You got to live a different lifestyle. You have to. You just have to. And that's okay. And I think that now this is a different conversation for HSPs, neurodivergent as well. Once you learn to love it, once you learn to appreciate it, you'll take better care of it. So I used to feel like I was missing out on life as a highly sensitive person, because I'm just like, oh my God, I'm just so weak. I just have to hide in my turtle shell because I don't want to get overstimulated. And then I thought that was just so lame. So I would try to not do it. And for the longest time, I wouldn't even consider myself an HSP. I just I was kind of like a lurker from the shadows, and I would run right out into life and social situations and get destroyed, have my nervous system destroyed. And then I have to pick up the pieces because I'm just trying to hang and be normal. So this accepting and allowing is really important. These things are going to play a huge role in the spiritual aspect when I get to that. I'm going to do a part 2 to this video because I really want to talk about what I really wanted to talk about in the first place was the benefits of embodiment. But as I said before, that it can be painful because all the emotions that sent you to the dissociation in the first place are sitting right there waiting for you to feel them and take care of them when you come back into the body. And I kind of mentioned it before, but this is where internal family systems comes in for me. And because you want to be ready to receive whatever comes up, because it's there. You want to be able to receive whatever comes up. It's allowed. Taking care of your nervous system is of the utmost priority. If your nervous system is not regulated, you're not good. You're not any good to yourself or anybody else. Let's just start with you. You are not any good to yourself if your nervous system is not regulated. You might as well be comatose. You might as well be in a comatose state. That's it. So in conclusion, that's pretty much the gist of my experience with emotion dysregulation and dissociation, or more like the backstory. I don't know. Those are just some of my experiences with it. I hope I did it justice. This is my first video, so I'm looking to get better over time. Like I said, there will be a part 2 to this video, so we'll see what kind of improvements I make to that video format. Once we get these benefits of embodiment, that will help us to have something to hold on to through the pain, something to look forward to, like a reason to get embodied. Because you could just stay in a dissociated state. You can continue to do that. You could continue to live like that if you want to. I don't want to say I don't think you want to, because I know the pain, and sometimes, yeah, you do. You would rather just stay dissociated. But I'm telling you, when you are able to take care, ooh, life is worth it. So, yeah.